the craic. Oh,
There we
he's
go.
gone. Yay!
I was dancing. I was like bouncing around to that intro. Oh my God, that beat is like fire.
It was so funny. I pressed it and I was like, oh my God, it works. I love the noise. I love the music. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot to see if I'm live. Oh, I love it. What's happening?
All's good. All's good. All's good. I went into a wee, I know I was talking to you a wee bit before. I went into some sort of wee time anomaly since I spoke with you about an hour ago. It was crazy,
No.
like literally crazy. And I nearly didn't make it here on time. So, but all's good. All's good. How are you?
Good, yeah. My heart is in my mouth because I hate technology, and well, you know how much I love doing these lives. Not so. Yeah, it's cool because I'm like getting to play with this, and I'm trying to like view this as just like what you said in the thing, have the crack, just mess around, just play around. So that's it. That's kind of like where I'm at. I'm just in this cool, creative kind of spacey space with trying to just see what happens. So yeah, that's what's
And
going
this,
on with me.
I just like to say, oh, it's the other side here. I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
That's magic created by Marina. And Hot on Its Heels is actually going to be, I don't think I even said this to you, Hot on Its Heels, hopefully today, is going to be my website. Yeah.
You did? Yes. I love it.
Hopefully we'll see how it goes, the way the days are. But yeah, listen, thanks for jumping on here with me.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
I love our spontaneous kind of love bombs. Well, you call them love streams. So yeah, we just want.
I didn't make. That's one of the only autocorrects that I write. Every time I write live stream, it changes to love stream. So I decided, right, okay, I'm just going to start calling love stream. So that was one of the few autocorrects that was good. The rest of them are usually horrible. So yeah, love stream.
What's going on with you?
What is going on? Everything and nothing. And yeah, I went into like some sort of time anomaly, I swear, in the last hour. And then Elise went out, and it's Angelo. It's every time it's that wee lad. The other day, yeah, there have a few things that's happened with him. You know some of this, but it seems to be ramping up. And he's doing things where, like, when he's actually holding my body or touching me or in some way, crazy things are happening. Powerful things are happening. And in the last hour or 2 hours, I don't know what it was, I completely lost about an hour and a half of time, just me and him. And I nearly didn't. Only Elise came back and I said, what are you doing back? I said, did you not go? She was going out to the shop. I said, did you not go? What happened? She said, I'm back. It's 1:45. You need to be. Why are you not in the shower?
I love it.
It disappeared. So that sort of thing's happened. And then the other night, he sleeps in the bed with us. He always has. Since beginning, we've been co-sleeping. Big, massive bed, plenty of space. But the other night, he wanted me to stay close with him, and I was like holding his leg. Well, he wanted me to massage his legs actually, but I was so tired, and I did that for a while. But then I held my hand on his leg, and then he relaxed, and I relaxed, and then this. I don't know. It's kind of like the story in Autobiography of a Yogi. Whenever Sri Yukteswar comes and touches Yogananda's forehead, that kind of thing kind of happened to me. That's what I could say. Universal consciousness, like everything disappeared, and just mental.
And that happened in the last hour as well.
Oh no! Well, in the last hour, I don't know what happened. That just like I was like saying to Ellie, like, what are you doing back here? I thought I had plenty of time, and I even sent you since we talked. Like I'd sent you a voice message, making it we were joking about something.
Yeah.
From then to now is like it just disappeared. It's like it's not there.
I've had a week of that.
I don't know what happened.
All of a sudden it's Friday and I have to go back to work tomorrow, and yeah, it's a bit like that. All right, how do you even describe that though? That's your normal, and how do you describe it to anybody?
This is what and this is what it's coming back to me now is this complete non-practice or non-doing because doing happens in time, and when we come into this non-doing, we come into this surrender space, we collapse time, because time is only created by our doing, by our belief in it. So when we go into these non-doing space, these letting go, we're not bound by time, and language is bound in time. So to talk about it is kind of difficult because
Yeah.
we're talking about something that you can't really talk about. We can only sort of allude to it or point to it. I don't know. It's really.
And I was going to say, here's the thing. Like, lots of people are experiencing this. We spoke about this the other day. Lots of people are experiencing this kind of randomness.
Yes.
Nobody's talking about it. Nobody knows what to say. Nobody knows how to put it into words. Because I don't. I mean, I tried to speak to you about where this all takes me. I said it to Marina even the other day. I feel like Alice in Wonderland, walking through this like passageway, and I'm like looking all around me like this, and I really want to touch it, but it's like no, just
Yes.
and I don't know about you, but what I'm finding is like it's really easy right now to get pulled into somebody else's stuff, somebody else's energy, somebody else's story, like ridiculously easy. Or maybe it always was, and this is what I'm talking about, what you're describing. Maybe it always was, but the place, I don't know about you, but I'm personally in, my awareness feels like I'm, did you ever see that movie Lucy? Oh, you did. Remember I was talking to you and Michael Mahia about it. With there's a point where she feels like all of this energy just going through her, and it's like a super a surge of energy going through. So I feel like really ridiculously aware or something, or really sensitive or something. So like that, I can get pulled into somebody else's story, their energy, their feelings. I'm like a sponge. Then I'm trying to walk through this like this. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me, because I'm experiencing my own kind of inner revelations as I'm doing this. And watching other people have theirs. I'm watching our revelations intertwine and dance, and I'm like, sweet Jesus. How am I not back on the whiskey or something now?
Yes. To me, I think it's what you like. It's always been. We talked about this the other day about the layers and the veils and the filters of glasses that we've been wearing that we don't know. And each filter that comes off, we see more clearly. We recognize, like just today, something happened as well. Something in our reality that has been here for 4 years and we did not see it. Like, I'm going to. This is crazy. This happened after the time anomaly, but at least just came back. There's an orange tree in our backyard that we didn't see before. An orange tree. Like, and it's 30. There's 30. I see 38 people online. That's just a wee confirmation. There's an orange tree, and I brought Elise over, and she couldn't see it. Like, this is literally here in a spot where we've been. I've walked in this spot. There's now an orange tree there, and it's wild. It's just, that is wild. So consciousness is amazing. What consciousness can do to hide what is not in your belief system, not in your reality, and show you what is in your belief is just incredible. And 2 people looking at the same thing, 100 people looking at the same thing will see 100 different things, and everyone will swear that theirs is the truth.
Yeah.
Because each one is looking through their own filtered experience, and it's very, very real. But it's not real. It's just a perspective, and everyone has a perspective. And what you're talking about, and what I'm experiencing, I feel as well, is we're just becoming more conscious of what is. We're just becoming more aware. It's always been here. That orange tree was always there, but for some reason we couldn't see it. And I'm not talking like a huge space. I'm talking a small space. It was always there, but we couldn't see it. I don't know. Well, I actually do know what the meaning of it is too, because last week I was having an absolute meltdown nightmare. I think I told you. You said was it? Does it feel like December again? And I said no, it feels like 1998, because that's what it was. I felt like I regressed 20 years. I was dark. Yeah. couple of really, well, probably a week of really deep darkness. And at one point in that day, so that orange tree appeared, and I showed it to Elise for the first time today. So I should make this clear. I saw it last week. I was in a really dark place, and I was going outside to just take a walk. And I just said, give me a sign, show me something, give me a sign, show me something, that just, I was basically asking for a miracle. I want a miracle. And I went out and stood in this spot, and right here in front of me was an orange tree that I never saw before. And only 5 minutes ago did I get to show this, because I forgot about it. And if I don't do things in the moment, but yeah, I asked for like a miracle. And so it's just like, for whatever reason, that was always there and we couldn't see it. So any wonder people don't get on, any wonder people don't feel like they're understood, or they don't understand themselves. It's because we're all seeing the same thing through different lens.
Yeah,
which means it looks different.
You hit the nail on the head there a few minutes ago. Like, you could be in the same family with the same parents, and each sibling experiences it differently. I had a similar experience. I'm not seeing orange trees or anything, but last Saturday morning, I hit this place. Of these realizations as well, really deep realizations of all of the things. So this is kind of like the same orange tree thing, but from a different vantage point. All of these things that I really invested in, really believed in, like really, really gave a shit ton of my time, energy, and presence to people, situations, things, beliefs, thoughts, feelings. And I woke up Saturday morning, and I just had an awareness, a knowing, a very clear certainty or something about me, even, of none of this shit is real. Like, none of it. And I found it hard to keep to process. I kind of kept it to myself. Like, I stayed in it that day. I stayed very much in it. The things like I really invested in, I experienced like a grief. Felt like grief. It felt like, see, words fail me now. It felt like grief, but I wasn't sad. I was relieved. I was like, thank God.
That's the filtered version of Melissa.
I was like, thank fuck, because I thought, like, what in the hell? The relief. And then the space to just be relieved. And it was deep-seated stuff that I had gone through and cleared. Zero pointing, as you know, is my process that I use, and I teach with other people. But it's what helped me unearth and uncover my story. And I'm like, how am I today, years of age, realizing this? How things that were literally like this in my face all of this time. I said it to you as well. I was trying to explain what's actually what's going on in this head of mine. And it's like, you can be in a conversation with somebody, and while you're having these realizations, or you're deepening this knowing of the truth, right? Minus distorted perceptions, minus judgments, minus attachments that just immobilize you, or projections, like the projections from believing in all of this stuff since forever. And I'm there going, what is going on? What am I doing? What am I feeling? And then everything just kind of settles, quiets in my head. And then it's like there's another voice. I'm sure this sounds a bit nuts, but this is what's happening. It's me. It's like another aspect of me. I'm about to supercharge into something that I now know is a complete illusion, story that I attached to at that time, that served a purpose, has no relevance now, has no significance now. I don't even have resonance with it. It's pointless. And then there's a version of me about to just bull into something. And then it's like this voice going, no, not anymore. I'm like, what? God damn. But you stand down with relief and you don't go there. Or like we came on here and I was saying to you, I'm afraid to press this intro thing in case it doesn't work. And I'm like, if it works, it works. But the version before was like, it has to work. It needs to work. And everything has to be perfect. And now it's just like, you rock up sideways and hope for the best and have the crack and have the chats. And that's all that's important. But an old version of me would have given myself such a hard time. And I would have been still thinking about it next week, terrified to do it again, to press it again. And, you know, they're all the tiny things that we really, in our heads, have always been, the mind chatter has been like consistently going all the time. I was speaking with Marie Sutcliffe this morning for the first time in ages, and we were talking about exactly this, about how me and you can be having a conversation and a million things are circling around in your head, a million things that are just a pile of shit, basically. There's no other way to say that, and no graceful way to say it. A pile of absolute shit that you have told yourself about yourself to keep yourself safe or small or protected or shielded, or don't say that in case you're not accepted. Don't say that in case you're not loved. Don't. And it's all of the previous year's worth of work. We call it work that we've lived through to get to this point where we're dissolving. Each person is dissolving at their own pace and in their own time, the stuff that they believed in, the stuff that they invested in. And it can be turbulent. Like I said, Saturday morning, I'm in the throes of it, but there's a piece of me going, this isn't grief. This isn't grief. It looks like grief. It goddamn sounds like it when you're crying like a kid and there's tears pissing down your face, but it's not grief. It's relief. It's relief. And that was just Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon took me to a whole other place. I'm down in my parents' house looking through years worth of photos to come in behind this experience. And some of my siblings were in the house with me. My mom was there. I'm browsing through these pictures. I love photos. I love capturing moments myself. Pisses people right off when I've got a camera in their face. But I love how we can hold a memory in time. And this is what's happening in here. A memory in time. I'm looking through these pictures and I'm going, what I invested, what I believed in this specific picture was never real. It was never true. There was like this is the truth. There's pictures of me there. There's not a pick of weight on me. I'm like a little bean. And I invest. I mean, when I tell you, I believed so much that I was fat, I was ugly, there was a photo I remember seeing, and I look so beautiful in it. Like, you'd never tell a kid that you're ugly, but it was what I believed. And I remember looking at the picture the other day going, wow, that kid is beautiful. And then it was like some adult, somebody says, oh, Melissa, you look like a grumpy little shit in that picture. And so I always hated it. And then it was the most epic experience to be browsing through all of these pictures. I want to go back down and do more because there's that many we had to stop. So I can recalibrate my mind and my heart and put them back in sync with what these situations were, which were just tiny memories in time. So that was my Saturday. It was crazy. But everybody's kind of like feeling or going through similar bits and pieces. I didn't know you were in it. You didn't know I was in it. Nobody knew. Nobody really knows anybody's in it because they've got their heads down.
Yeah.
But it's so personal. It really is a personal experience and at your own pace.
Yeah. I find that myself, and you know, like in the last year, so much where it just feeling like to go through it on your own, much more than what we would have done before. Oh, sorry, I thought my computer disconnected there. Am I still on? I am still on. My screen just turned off there. It's doing all weird things. Oh my God, it's gone again.
Well, we can still hear you and see you.
Okay, wait there a minute. I just can't see you, so I can just talk. Maybe it's this late. I don't know why it keeps turning itself off. 1 second. There's always so many technical fun when we do this, isn't it? This is your dream. This is
I
the
love
stuff
it.
that you love.
Oh my God, I love it.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. That is really weird. Let me just take this out and then again. 1 second. Let's see if that works. Am I back?
We never lost you, man. The connection's solid.
Okay, so I don't know, it's my screen. Yeah, definitely this last year or so, I've been finding much just less outward, or even when you're going through stuff, it's like you're going through it on my own mostly. And of course, we go through as a threesome, as a trinity here as well. But there's something that you said that's something that we have been experiencing and talking about a lot. And it's where you said grief was relief. And this is something I just so like there's so much there, but there's something about that I want to share about. And it ties that whole thing together, is like, and the photograph, and the same awareness that was looking through the eyes of the girl in the photograph is the same awareness that's looking through the you that's looking at the photograph now, whatever many years ago. That's what's stable. What is different is the voice of the adult that said the thing is not there. That voice, you're not listening to that voice anymore. And you talked about the voice, but when you talked about the grief and the relief, is that, and this comes from Michael Singer, I just love his teachings, is that we get to experience something like grief. Before grief and pain and sadness, these are like these horrible things to experience. We actually get, he doesn't say it like this, but I'm saying it like this, we actually get the opportunity to experience something like that. And we've spent our whole lives trying to medicate that, trying to soften that, trying to lessen it. But in actuality, we've come here not just for that, but that's an incredible gift of depth of experience. And we talked about this before, how I talked about, grief, and people like you, and use grief and these things to create art and to create like magic. It's like it's not like that's a bad thing. It's an incredible gift, because when we're in non-physical, we can't experience that. Everything that can be imagined in the other dimensions is experienced in the third dimension. And everyone thinks they're trying to escape here. Actually, you queued up to get here. So buckle up. You get to experience grief. You get to experience sadness. You get to experience depression. You get to experience the depths, the highs, the lows, all of this. And that is an incredible gift when you see it as a gift, when you see it as a burden, when you see it as, or it's judged as suffering, or it's judged as per me, or it's judged as a victim, then you obviously don't have that experience. And we've all had it to some degree. But I'm really finding like I can experience, even last week, I could experience depression. It took me, and I'm not going to say that I was what I'm talking about now. It did take me. I was low, but there was still a part that was just able to witness and able to observe and not go where I would have went before. And it was like, wow, I get to experience this. And then and when you begin to look at life like that, things that used to piss you off, I said that you turn your I have to, or I shoulds, or I must, you turn it, I get to. Today I get to go to work. Today I get to go out into the crazy world. I get to, it's just a tiny shift with one word. But if we look at that on a bigger scale, it's like all of that conditioning, all of our likes and dislikes, all of our personal preferences have all come from some experience or something we've been told, or something, something that's from the past. Like you said, you've looked at the same photograph. You've looked at that photograph without looking at the photograph, through a memory of a voice of someone else. Now you looked at that photograph, which is the same awareness that was looking at the photograph through the voice of the other. You've looked at now with clear eyes, without that voice. And I love what you talked about the voice, because I talk about this a lot. I think I posted this week. When you win an argument in your head, who loses? But the voice that you're talking about is a different voice. That's not the voice that we're normally bombarded with. The voice, the fearful voice, the small mind voice is completely different. And I'm glad you're talking about this, because that voice that you're talking about is the still small voice that has been drowned out by all the rubbish, all of the stuff, all the limitation, all the fears, all of that. The still small voice is the one that will always be loving, always be compassionate, always be neutral, always be spacious. So that voice that you're talking about is a different one than the voice that we hear most of the time, all of us. And the key is to hear that voice, but not listen to it. Hear that voice, but not follow it. I mean, not the one that you're talking about, the one that most of the time,
the shady one.
Yes, the angel and the demon.
The shady one. There's a huge difference, and you feel it. You feel it in your body. You feel it in your body, and I think that this is probably another reason, personally, why part of me be like, Lisa, you're losing your shit now. You're losing your mind, is because I'm so conditioned. I'm so used to hearing the asshole speak.
Yes.
I'm so used to giving myself shit or putting myself down or trying to keep myself safe, which is what my mind always tries to do. That when I hear the compassionate voice, the voice of love, the voice of just care, it feels good. Like it feels good. So I'm like, okay, the only way I'm going to keep hearing this voice of support, this voice of love, is if I shut this one down. I can't shut this down. Yeah. So let's make peace. Let's bring the two of these in and let's check out here which feels better. Exactly. And obviously one feels better than the other. Personally speaking, this is just me. The only way I could get to this point was to get to know myself. To really know myself. And to know myself means to meet myself and to go deep with myself. And yeah, it's not always pretty. Sometimes it's into the depths of pain or into the depths of something or another. Or even sometimes it's into the depths of joy to see what lights me up like a Christmas tree and then do more of that. But when it comes to, knowing myself, I have to know the origins. Not even the origins. I have to understand why I would react to something as opposed to respond, or even where that voice comes from. It's like what you said, looking at the picture. It's listening to somebody else's voice.
Yes.
Who was probably there that day, and I probably was a grumpy shit. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I don't even remember. It doesn't even matter. But we can put stories to everything to either, buffer it up and make it feel a little bit better or whatever. My point is, if I understand myself now, then when I hear my inner asshole, who I love deeply, speak very loudly to me, I don't want to really just bond with that anymore.
Yeah.
I would rather be a little bit more compassionate to myself, a little bit kinder to myself, a little bit, you might be making a shy of it, Melissa, but it's okay. Gently, because this getting to know yourself business, doing the inner work, it's a practice. It's not something that you do today and you're sorted tomorrow. So if you're going to be on this journey, then compassionately goes it as best possible instead of, bonding with the inner asshole and, fighting your way through, like bulldozing your way through, because it's not going to work. You're going to perpetuate your own pain and your own suffering and your own cyclical patterns, and you're never going to smash the wheel. You're always going to be there. You're always going to be back in the past or so far ahead in the future that the now moment is just going to become irrelevant, and that's where we're missing all the magic. So I don't know. That's just my experience of what this feels like right now. It's a shit show. It's mental. It is. It really is.
33 above your head there now. Absolutely. And it's not about shutting up that voice, because you will not shut up that voice. You've had 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, this life and all the other lives in which inform that voice. You will not shut up that voice. but you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to give it any power. You don't have to give it any meaning. You can just let it be there, like something going on outside that it's just going on, but it's not me. And I'm not going to listen to it like I've listened my whole life. Like, it's amazing when you start to recognize how much of your identity, how much of your belief systems are based on this voice in the head that is absolutely nothing to do with you. And it seems like it was your identity. Eckhart Tolle talks about it, like in The Power of Now, and when he talks about his experience, it's like this voice in the head. Who is it talking to? Who is that voice? And is there two of me in here? And it's like, it's just mental. How is how did we get through whatever many years with that? That's what was running our life, and that's what addictions are about. That's what all of the strife in the world is about, and that's all these false identities. And then you've got media and so many things that just feed that and intensify it, or shock it with fear, or feed it with pleasure. And so it's just strengthen and strengthen. And it's just like you said, know thyself is like you're just stepping back. It's like, I am the awareness that is aware of the angel and the demon. I'm the awareness that is aware of the photograph, the person's voice, and they hear. I'm the same awareness looked through the girl's eyes in the photograph. The same awareness was there. Same awareness looked at that photograph before, but heard something else. And it's like, that's knowing the self. It's knowing self. And then that voice is something going on. It's just something I hear. You're in a room full of 100 people and they're all talking. Imagine trying to listen to all of those and take out all those points. You're just like, no, that's just going on. I'm here. Yeah. I'm aware. And that's knowing self.
You might be able to tell me, what way does he Michael Singer use the analogy of seeing through the eyes? The book we're talking about is The Untethered Soul. It's the audiobook we've both listened to. It's an incredible book. He's describing the journey of we evolve age-wise, but it's the same. Remember, he talks about asking yourself, who's in there?
Yeah. Who's in there? Well, it's like you, that whatever age you were in that photograph, who was in there? You that is looking at the photograph is the same you that was in there, that was taken in the photograph. And you that is looking through your eyes now and talking about the photograph, and the one about the photograph, and the voice with the photograph, it's the same thing. That's the unchanging who's in there. The self is in there. The I am is in there. And all the voices and all the comings and goings and the bodies and the stories are all just the stuff that the self is aware of. And we've got a story of Martin, the story of Melissa, the story of everyone else that's here, apparently here. And it's like knowing self is coming back. It's like taking that step back, taking that breath, being able to step back from what is, like you said, respond, react. If we're in reaction, it's that voice in the head, or it's a condition, or it's a trauma, or it's something, it's a past experience. And you take a breath. It's just amazing when you do it. And like the three of us are doing it. Well, I don't think Angela needs to do it as much as we do, but myself and Lisa more, let's say, we're doing it. And we are seeing the absolute insanity of our mind clearer than ever before. Like, it is incredible how insane and how you think, who you are, and what you believe yourself to be. And the reason you make decisions and choices around preferences, it's absolute insanity. And when you begin to see it, the freedom, like the relief you talk about, the freedom that comes from that is just like, oh my God, I haven't been making decisions. We talk about free will. You don't have free will if you don't know the choices that you're making. And we believe we're making choices in free will, but we're actually making decisions purely based out of reactions and responses from past traumas, from what we were told, what we were believed, or what we were meant to believe or made to believe. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. But I started the journey with him I think it was around November 2019. It was towards the end of New Earth Mystery School. And I started experiencing this surrender that he talked about. And it was why we did that surrender experiment journey. We did our own
Yeah.
surrender experiment where we didn't plan anything and we ended up in Tenerife. We didn't make any decisions for a whole week. We made no decisions. That was inspired by his book. But at that time, I was having this experiences where something, like this, something would come up, and then I have a preference or I have a strong reaction or a trigger or whatever, and it's just like totally let go. And what would start to happen was this wave of bliss would go up my spine. That's what would happen. And I was doing this, and I was getting experiences like literally, we talked about it before, like orgasmic experiences, sitting in the line at the post office. I'm not joking. It's like really crazy. Like a weird thought would come about something, or impatience, which is big for me. And I would just like let it go. And then this like blissful, ecstatic experience would go. And I was going through that, and that was strong for me. And that was like November 2019 and right into January or February of 2020. And then of course 2020 happened, and I've just realized that I just fell like most of the rest of the world into this big massive hole and forgot all about that. And now a year later, I'm coming back full circle to it, and it's happening again. It's happening again. I'm finding I'm dropping into states of ecstasy with no apparent reason. Why? Because that is our natural state. It's not something magical or mystical. It's like everything else, like all of the things we've been talking about, have clouded our natural state, which is bliss, union, ecstasy.
Yeah.
It's magic.
I'm in the gratitude waves. I keep spontaneously telling people I love them. Like because I'm really aware in this aware space, right? I'm really aware of what I'm so grateful for. And there's some people around me right now. The unconditional love is, you can't not see it, right? Popping up at the most epic times. Like one of my best friends sends me this random message this morning when I was having a wobble in my head, observing the voices, observing the voices in my head. But it's the truth. And
it's important to talk about it.
Yeah, the timing of her message was like, oh my God, you couldn't write this shit. You couldn't write this because it matters, what you were talking about, that's what a couple of minutes ago, that's what I meant at the beginning of the conversation when I said I felt a bit like Alice in Wonderland observing. So you're literally witnessing the madness of your own mind so clearly with everyone and everything. And it's like habits, addictions, patterns, boredom, whatever it might look like, makes you just want to just go back there again and touch this shit again. And you're like, no, just be, just observe, don't absorb, don't touch, stay in your lane. I've never understood this to matter as much in my life as I do now. Stay in your lane. In you, what's your frequency? Because this is what I understood, right? It just blows my mind. How am I even going to put this into words? But I can barely process the madness of my own mind and what I'm after investing the last 40 years in believing, let alone worry about what you're thinking.
Of course.
Right? But what we do is I go, oh, Martin, do you love me? Do you love me? And are you my friend? And the madness. Why isn't Martin picking up his phone right now? Listen, I don't even know what madness comes up, but the things that we play in our head via our interactions with other people who are our greatest mirrors, the greatest gauge of where you're at. You said it yourself the other day, Angelo, is like your little walking, talking beacon of where you're at.
Yeah.
Are you in your heart? Are you in your head? Are you in synergy with both? Or are you out in the garden, away from everything? And I think this is why, this is just my observation. Again, this is my own personal observation. I think this is one of the reasons why our world is kind of on fire at the minute, because everybody is still trying to interact and worry about everybody else. And I mean, even the media is telling you to. It's telling you to worry about everybody else and disengage from yourself. It's kind of mental, really, when you think about it. But if each person really tends to themselves, gets to know themselves, you can't trigger me if I know what my trigger point is. Or if I have dissolved it within myself, if I've neutralized it within myself, which is what I use 0.2 for. You can't trigger my shit. I can observe it. I am very palpably aware then I have a choice to react or respond. And I know where reacting gets me. It pulls me right back into the same loop, back into the same circle of shite, back into the same habitual patterns. Oh, it's just soul destroying. It's soul destroying because there are so many people really trying to move forward, to, make their worlds better. But the world can't get better unless they know themselves and can have the discernment to bite the hook or just, walk away. It's crazy. It really is crazy. I don't even know if that made sense.
Completely. And it's like we're talking about here, when you see the insanity of your own mind and then you hear someone saying, I'm here to wake other people up, I just have to laugh at that because can you imagine how much when you truly see, the person that thinks they have to wake someone else up, in my humble opinion, one perspective of infinite potential, does not know themselves. Because like you said, like whenever you got so much to deal with in your own experience, which is only one experience there is only one experience. We're all just looking back at the same thing from a different perspective, and everyone's trying to fix the other one and fix the world. This is something else that came this week, is like everyone, the world doesn't come and say, knock on the door in the morning and say, how would you like me to be today? No, the world just is what it is, and then you go out and expect the world to be the way you want it to be, and be that person needs to be the way that you want it to be, and the people that you don't agree with need to change their mind and agree with you, and that the way you see the world is the right way, and that's what we expect. And then because it's not that way, because it'll never be that way, we suffer, because that little voice in the head wants to change the world, fix the world so it doesn't hit my, all my shit inside. And like whenever we begin to see the insanity of that voice, which we have believed, I believed myself to be, and many of us have believed ourselves to be, you have got no time to wake someone else up.
No,
But what
you
you can
don't.
do, but what you can do is, by your example, living your example, you can model an experience. But that's not what people are doing. People are saying they need to wake up, they need to see things, or if someone doesn't see something the same way, like they don't know this, they don't know that, or they need to wake up. Okay, you're going to have a challenging journey, because there's enough and lifetimes of simultaneous experience that are all filtered through your being. It's not just these 40 years, it's all of these other coalescing parallel incarnations, human and otherwise, that we are bringing together in this. So I think we've got enough on our plate working
Absolutely. When I met you, I was saying to you before, and we've been on a couple of conversations live, and I've said, even with Todd, I said, I'm a recovering people pleaser and a habitual fixer. Well, this is a public service announcement to say I'm not fixing shit for anyone. I can barely hold my own. I do not have any interest remotely in fixing you. If you have shit to fix, bounce, fix yourself. I've got myself to deal with. That's enough. I am a recovered people pleaser, and I am a recovered fixer. So no. And my bubble right now is enough for me to navigate, and I can feel it. I can, anytime, and I'm human. I'm not, immune to this, to be pulled into somebody else's, story. I mean, that's what we're here to learn, expand, grow, evolve. But sweet Jesus, you can keep your stuff. I'm going to keep mine. Mine's perfect for me. Thank you. Mic drop. Gone. Not doing it. I'm not doing it. No way. No way will I do it. Because, like, honestly, observing what I have just rumbled within my own life, my own history is enough. It's enough. And we're all doing this right now. So if you've got a few, a dear friend of mine messaged me the other day and said, if the chaos is still happening out there, if you're still, going up with people, understand the war is within yourself. It's within yourself. So this is just me thinking out loud. Neutralize the war within yourself. So you don't go out there and, go to war with somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there is no in here and out there ultimately. There's just the perspective that we have of the projected world. And I see one and you see one. And we can look, like, again, 100 people can look at the same thing. And someone can see chaos, someone can be in absolute bliss, someone can be in completely neutral. Why? Because it's what's internal, apparently internal, that is projected externally in this view. So, and there's only one of us here. So it's like, ultimately there is only stuff that is all of ours, but we are, our perspective and our individual viewpoint of that is what is individual, the way we look upon that. So we can look upon what someone sees as chaos and we can see opportunity. We can look at something that looks scary and see a challenge, or we could be fearful. It's like, that's what it is. So it's all the same stuff, but how we look at it and how we choose to view it and interact with it is what makes it unique. But whenever we, like what we just talked about there, we're looking to, and there's a difference in, working one-on-one with something like the processes that you do, or working like some in that space. That's not, there's not a fix, and we're coming together in a vibration with a certain intent. It's whenever we look at the world and that needs to change, and this needs to be fixed, and that needs to be like that, and then I'm going to be okay. This is what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about when people come together in community or one-on-one that you can't uncover things. Of course you can. But what happens is, we're staying with this voice, I think, is that whenever that person's, let's say, we'll just put it in quotes, that person's stuff comes, the part, that voice attaches onto that, because that's feeds it. It feeds it. Because we've had that experience, and okay, no, I need to fix that because we need to get them out of that circumstance. So that it latches onto it and latches onto it. Why, when you're driving past, why does the mind, if there's a car accident, you're drawn to look at it? It's like, it's drawn to drama, it's drawn to this, and it's not the true self that's drawn to it. It's this small, not sometimes very loud voice that gets its identity from drama, from separation, from fear, from all of the trauma-based experiences that we had, and all the beautiful experiences all the deep experiences that humans have, and then it attaches to it. This is why soap operas are so popular. People get to live out their own shit on the screen in front of them, but don't seem to have to, deal with it in real, like it happens on EastEnders or whatever. But actually, they're living out their dramas and shit on the screen, on the TV screen. That's why they're so popular. And then it goes on every day.
Yeah.
The news is like this.
Yeah.
In a more extreme version. It's like this shit is played out day by day, but it's on the screen. But actually, what's happening in there, it's in here. It's really insane. It's really insane. But when you begin to see it, I think that relief word again that you said, it's such a relief when you begin to be able to take a step back and see that, oh my God, like how much has been invested in this identity of this voice. It's like a full identity. Like they talk about the ego mind. Again, I don't say this as an enemy. It's not an enemy. It's not something to be vanquished. It's just not something to be listened to, not something to be followed, and not something to have your identity as, which most of our lives, as soon as we're like at the age of Angelo, we start calling your name. You're a boy. You are Angelo. You are this. You are good. You are, this and this and that. we're conditioned from the very youngest age to be conditional. Conditional. Everything is a condition. I have a name. I am here. I am experiencing that. Sometimes I am good. Sometimes I'm other. Sometimes I get a smile. Sometimes I get like
Slap.
fearful or scared.
Professional slap.
That was amazing. That was amazing one I told you the other day. Yeah, my God,
he's a
that
legend.
was mad. Oh my God, he's teaching me continuously, and he's got a lot of teaching to do. Remembering.
There's nothing that will pull you out of
madness.
I was going to say it's nothing to pull you out of that bliss state than the little hand of a 2-year-old on your jaw. But you shared a really cool experience the other day, a cool lesson. If you wouldn't mind even just sharing it with people, because it was cool.
Because he literally, there's two because he did that as well. So there's this thing has been happening for about a year, where it's 99% of the time it's been when he's been with me. Something has happened, and something happens, and I just go into this frozen stasis, no mind, no time. It's not I can't do anything. I could move if there's an emergency, but I'm just like frozen, and there's no movement, and there's no time. And like Elise normally has to come take Angelo off me, but he does it. Somehow he does it. I don't know. But that's been happening a lot. But so one time I went into this state, and I'm just in this state of, I wouldn't say ecstasy, bliss. It's like nothingness. There's no time. There's no space. There's no me. And one time I think he decided I'd been there long enough, and I'm like just completely, I'm aware, but I'm like just, there's just nothing. It's just like peace. It is peace, but it's like not like peace what we imagine. It's like just nothingness. And he just come up and just slapped me and scared the absolute. I mean, my heart. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I can imagine. He's like, time to come play, and my heart was pumping. Like when you get like a real scare, that happened. But the other thing, the one that we were talking about was just normal things as a 2-year-old, and like anytime I'm lying down, is to get my attention. He's just going to come up and slap me, just doing things that kids do. And it's been a challenge for me, to be honest, because sometimes it's sore, and sometimes it's shocking, sometimes it scares me. It's only a 2-year-old, he's tiny. When you slapped in the eye,
I can imagine it's happening myself. They were kids.
It's hilarious. So I talked to you about it before, and I was like challenged by it and all of that, and trying, everything, trying non-reaction, trying to talk about it, trying to say, no, this is wrong. Anyway, all sorts of things, and nothing ever worked. And then the other day, me and him was together, and we're sat in front of the fire, and we're just, I can't remember what we were doing. We're just being there, whatever. And but it was very nice, and we were doing something very like soft, and it was like there. And then I just out of nowhere, I wasn't expecting it, and he just like boom, just slapped me in the eye, and it was sore. It was sore again. And I looked at him, and he looked me straight in the eyes. I was sitting down, he was standing up, and he looked me straight in the eyes, and he's only verbally speaking a few words now, and he just said, "Love." That was it. And then instantly, telepathically, I got the message along the lines of, like the teaching of Jesus. If someone slaps you in the face, turn the other cheek, is like basically, the underlying teaching of that is no matter what the world throws at you, you come from love. Doesn't mean like you sit there and get beat up or whatever. That's not the lesson. But sometimes we need something like that shocking. And it was always just like love, and that was it. And he just looked me straight in the eyes and said love. And he always struggled to say the word love. He says vayu. When we say love you, he says vayu. This moment, he said love. And instantly, telepathically, I got the message. What this had been about the whole time is to, no matter what, no matter what the world seems to be bringing you, love is always the answer. It's the only answer, and the reactions and all those things just bring more of the suffering, more of the pain. So that lesson dropped in very quickly with a slap.
Well, I love it because it is really relevant even to what we were chatting about here today, because as everybody's going through their own little process and their own journey, I even shared a post about it in the middle of the night last night. It encourages us really not to be an asshole. when somebody else is experiencing whatever they're experiencing, and when we react from a place of our own stuff, like our own whatever it is, whatever is underlying, if we're pissed off or if we've got stuff going on or the world is a little bit intense. I think I wrote I don't even know what way I put it all, but it was like, just don't be an asshole. And I think when you know yourself, this is just my opinion, when you get, the deeper you get to know yourself, the deeper you realize the madness of your own mind, the more you get to observe your own mind in motion, in action, and the more you understand and witness the what's going on with other people and where they're at, that everybody's winging it, right? And when we are being triggered, like I actually wrote it, don't be an unnecessary asshole. That's what I actually wrote at the end of it. Don't be an unnecessary asshole. There's you can do exactly what you're talking about with regards to the lesson with Angelo. Turn the other cheek. You can compassionately understand where, if you understand yourself, you'll understand where another person is going through. This is, I know you could go down another rabbit hole conversation wise, and we'll wrap it up now, but it's to have the discernment to do exactly that. Stay in your own lane, step back, diffuse the triggers within yourself so that you can observe where another person is at without having to butt heads with them, and just don't be an asshole. Just don't be an asshole. I wrote, if you don't have, I wrote something like, if what you have to say doesn't empower, nurture, nourish, and some other words, somebody else, then maybe consider not saying it, because you don't know how you're impacting somebody else.
Exactly.
So just to kind of pull the two of those experiences together, if you know that something is another person's and you know that it's not yours, and how are you going to know it's not yours? Because if you're in your bubble and your lane and holding your own frequency, then it can't be. Turn the other cheek. Jog on.
Exactly. You don't have to, you don't have to like someone to love them. You don't have to be, again, this doesn't mean like somewhat, these teachings could be taken, and they were taken out of context a lot. It doesn't mean that you're like a walkover. It doesn't mean that you just let everything just happen. That doesn't mean that's not loving. That's not loving. But sometimes we need these lessons in a painful way, aka me. It's like, because I love what you said there. If it's not empowering, if it's not loving, do unto others as you do unto yourself. Is like, if you're not, as you speak those words, again, it's like, if you win the argument in your head, who loses? If you win the argument outside, who loses? You think you've told someone. This is what I get all these like, I just write these wee tiny posts where you can just read in 1 second, because I can't read longer than a paragraph on Facebook. But it was something along the lines of, instead of, if something pushes your buttons, instead of coming up with your like educated, spiritual, advanced response or reply to a post on Facebook, just be quiet. Just be quiet. That's, them doing that when it's in person, like you've just described, is like, that's such a gift, because this person is literally you, showing you a part of you. And whenever if you're going to say something that's disempowering or unloving or not compassionate, you're just basically, you're saying that to yourself. And again, there's a fine line in the discernment. Again, it's not about everybody agreeing. It's not about like, you have to stay, sometimes you do have to be strong in your love is strong at times. Love is direct at times. Sometimes the most loving thing is to direct someone and show how an action or a word is coming from a place that's damaging to another or to the self. But don't do that in a reaction to something someone said to you. It comes from a much deeper place, and it comes with space, and it comes with maybe time in between. It maybe comes a day later or whatever. But an instant reaction is always going to come from that little one up there. That little light one.
Do you mind if I share this with you? It's only short.
Please.
I wrote, yes, it's much easier to hit the pain point of another with loaded words or actions, or indeed subliminal ones, than it is to tend to your own wounds. But that won't ease the dormant hurt held within you, or make your own unaddressed stuff disappear or dissolve. So it simply breaks down to this: don't be an asshole. Everyone is doing their best right now in any given moment. Everyone. And you've no idea what another person is processing or living through, especially these days. Be kind. Be compassionate. If what you have to say doesn't empower, lift, nurture, or nourish another, then maybe keep it to yourself. Look within. Take ownership of whatever it is you are navigating and act accordingly. Don't be an unnecessary asshole. P.S. If you have been an asshole and you know it, remedy it. I put down the phone and then I fell asleep.
I love it. I love it. That's it. That's it. And it's so much easier. It's so much easier. Because that little voice wants to react, wants to prove someone wrong, wants to get the witty response. But you feel like, you might feel like, oh, I feel better. Oh, I told them afterwards. But actually, you don't. You create another cycle, and a boomerang is just coming straight back to hit you in the ass. And you think that, you've told them, but what have you done? You've just created another cycle that's just coming back through someone else a day later, a month later, a year later, 10 years later. It doesn't matter. It's coming back. But when you do what you just said, that's a circuit breaker.
Yeah.
That cycle no longer needs to continue. That does not need to come back. It will not come back.
It's not. It doesn't make you feel good, even.
No, it doesn't make you feel good. It makes that little identity, small mind, for a short time feel like I got something right, or I got something over, or I proved myself wrong. But never does that last, and never is it truly you. It's just this temporary. It's like taking a drink. It's like doing something to take an edge off. It's doing something to distract yourself. It's a temporary
validation. Yeah.
It's a temporary apparent fix on a wound that, like you said, until you're actually in this self recognition, it's just going to come back again.
So maybe if anybody finds themselves with history repeating or in loops and patterns, don't look. Yeah, me too. Don't look outside. Look in. Yes. And like I said, well, this is just what I wrote. Act accordingly. Just act accordingly. Yeah. Whatever, like you said, sometimes it might be speaking up. Sometimes it might be removing yourself from a conversation. Sometimes it might be, whatever. Just act accordingly, I guess.
Yeah. What I would say, in my experience, and I don't know, I'm sure there are people that can do it, but I think it would take a very advanced master to be able to respond instantaneously to something that is charged and triggered in a way that comes from purely that place, really. Because the question wouldn't be coming if it's not touched something in you.
Yeah.
So it takes. So I feel like the space, the non-response, the giving a break or of some form. I feel, in my experience, I'm sure there are people that can do it. There always is accepted, but I think for most people, it's going to be a challenge to instantly respond from a place of pure groundedness. I mean, we can get. That's where we are truly, but
we forget.
Yes, exactly. So I feel like what you said, is step back. And I mean, what I was saying is, if there's a time where love is to be strong and direct and point, that usually comes from a place of contemplation, of meditation, of space, of dissolving any tension between a party of people, rather than coming up with it straight away. I think that could be a challenge. So given space, given time, given consciousness, breathe. Note to self, because I don't remember that most of the time either.
I definitely am not one of those people. I'm trying. And like I said, everybody is doing their best at any given moment.
Exactly.
And I think that's all that matters is just to be a good human. Just do your best.
This is it.
Leave the conversation, leave the situation, leave the scenario if it's a thing you can't be. That's always up to you. That's not that it's, you see, some people, I know we could talk about it forever, but it is your choice what you engage in. It is your choice what you give your energy, time and presence to, ultimately.
Yeah.
So, when you know yourself, you have the awareness, you have a greater awareness, your awareness of it grows, where you have the capacity then to discern, do I really need to stay engaged with this, or do I need to disengage? And that's what I'm talking about. Know yourself, just turn in and go from there. Yeah.
Just ask yourself the question, do I want to feel peace or do I want to be right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can answer that question most of the time,
Yeah.
peace,
I choose peace.
or do I want to be right?
I choose peace.
You're gonna pick peace. You're going to
Yeah.
pick peace, but in the moment of reaction, we're going to be wanting to be right, or wanting to, it's not
Yeah.
just always right. It's something I want to hit back, or I want to respond, or I want to be witty, or I want to be funny, or I want to be more advanced, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I want peace.
I want peace. Yeah. Well, listen, on that note, we'll leave it at that. I really appreciate you jumping on, and as ever, it's been epic.
For having me. Thank you so much for it's beautiful. I love it when we get together. It's magic, and I just say to anyone watching this that I teach what I need to learn, and I struggle with everything that I share about, and by no means have I had mastered, but I am experiencing much more of what comes through me, and just don't be too hard on yourself, and don't think that I think when you hear people talking about these things, it's easy to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to talk about it. And I think what we do here is we show you it all. We're not just saying, like, there is wisdom here, but we're very open and honest in that it's not always lived and not by choice. It's just there's a lot of strength in that voice and that conditioning in those 40 years and those infinite lifetimes. So just be compassionate with yourself. Don't be, in Melissa's words, don't be an asshole to yourself.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's exactly where they're supposed to be right now. There's no one person in an elevated place in comparison to you or me. We're exactly where we need to be for our own individual journeys. So the next time you catch yourself comparing yourself to whoever, the Buddha, I don't know, anybody, or anybody even in the spiritual community, just bring it back to you. You're in the exact place that you need to be for yourself. And what I love just about the likes of this conversation, this is no different from when myself and Martin would pick up a phone and have a phone conversation, and by other people hearing what the chaos we experience normalizes it for others. So this is why we're here. This is why we're here. But listen, thank you so much as ever. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for anyone who jumped in and joined us, and whoever catches us on our replay. Thank you. Until next time.
Love you.
See you later.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Bye.